So over Memorial Day weekend, my work scheduling worked out to where I got 6 days off. I had originally planned to visit a friend in another state, but things happened and we had to postpone. So this means I basically had 6 days to sit around and just do nothing. And honestly, it was a really productive 6 days of doing nothing. I know that wording sounds a little strange, but let me explain. So if you've been watching my videos or follow me on any of my other social media or internet channels and pages, you probably know that I have a lot of different interests and I want to pursue a ton of different creative avenues. This has honestly caused me a lot of stress and worry, especially lately. At the time of recording this video, I'll be 24 in about a week. I know that's still young, all things considered, but I can't help but regularly get the feeling that I'm starting to run out of time to chase my dreams. Luckily, I've been in a position where my parents don't mind me staying at home for a bit while I minimize my payments and maximize my savings. My older brother did this as well, and he moved out just after he turned 25 and bought his own house. Granted, he has a relatively well-paying IT job, but still. I can't help but feel that I'm behind in my journey to be successful in my chosen field, and I have this pressure to be successful by the time I'm 25, which is approaching fast. I need to scramble to get everything together. This was the mindset that I've had for so long, and somehow over this past week, I had a new perspective shift, and that's where the meat of this video is. Now that I'm finally getting to the point, let me explain why I called my week of doing nothing productive. See, while I was still reporting to my day job, I would try to cram in as many different things as I could while I was home off the clock. Now that I had a week to spend the entire day doing whatever I wanted, it really hit me how many things I was trying to do all at once. Imagine trying to get a band off the ground, go to the gym, write short stories and poetry, try to write a book, stream on Twitch, work a day job, do voiceover work, do photography work, prep for your role in an upcoming film, be a ministry leader at your church, and try to have enough leisure time for yourself to just unwind and relax. Yeah, that's a lot. And that's exactly what I've been doing for the past couple months. Like I said earlier, it had been really overwhelming. Often, it would get to the point of decision paralysis where there'd be just too many things that I could be doing, that it was hard to focus or even decide to actually work on something, and I would just end up playing video games or something else since I couldn't find the will to do something. My tasks seemed insurmountable. Thankfully, due to some recent circumstances, I found a way to overcome that feeling. Since it took me a while to get to the point, as I thought some backstory and explanation were required to fully make my point of the video, I'll start with my realization and then explain how I applied it. So, what did I realize? Just do less. Wait, so you're telling me not to work hard and to chase my dream? No, that's not at all what I'm saying. What I am saying is to prioritize the things that are either the most important things and or the ones that are likely to bear fruit the soonest. If you're like me and have a ton of them, my advice is just to pick 5 things and stick with those for a little while. The comfort of knowing I now don't have to worry as much about everything else and just letting myself enjoy the ride is really what made this perspective shift land. Instead of thinking, I have all these things I have to work on, I'm now thinking, I only have to work on these handful of things because a breakthrough is near. Like in a lot of my videos, my point hinges heavily on your mindset. So let me provide you with what I decided to do as an example. You remember all those things I mentioned earlier that I was doing? Here's how I decided to prioritize them. First, I am in no position to quit my day job yet, so that's one thing. Second, I think it's very important to have time for yourself because burnout is a very real thing, and it exists everywhere, no matter what you're doing. So that's 2 things. I don't really count my church or gym stuff as things to focus on because they're just kind of a part of my life anyway, so I'm not going to add them to my list of 5. They both don't take a huge amount of daily dedication. Since I'm shooting the film in late June, I'm going to wait until July to pick up streaming again, so prepping for the movie takes spot number 3, but once we wrap filming, streaming will slip into spot number 3. I haven't really had many opportunities for photography work recently, and in order to step up to bigger stages and shoot for bigger bands, I'd need a nice laptop to go on tour with them, which is where I would be making money doing photography. So that's off the table for now, since I need money, which is being poured into spot number 4, my band. We all need a decent chunk of money to be able to fund things like our live rig, music videos, song production, those sorts of things. We spent a lot of hours planning everything out, and now we are in the phase of putting everything into action. With the connections we have and the plan we've set forth, I have a really good feeling about the future of this band, so I am prioritizing it. Also, I can use whatever traction we gain from that to help me out in my other endeavors. In place number 5, I have voiceover work. If I had to choose just one thing to do for work, it would be voiceover and voice acting. Right now, the beginning stage that I'm in is really becoming comfortable with my equipment and learning things like how to edit my audio, how close or far to stand from my mic, gain settings, all sorts of stuff. How I'm doing this is I'm sifting through shows, movies, and games and pulling out monologues that I can practice with. I'll then record the monologue and then upload them to places like Instagram and YouTube Shorts so people can find me there and hopefully help build my brand and help me get more work. I can also mix this in with my leisure time because I'm currently going back through a handful of anime that I've already seen so I can play some games or something while I'm mainly listening to the audio of the show, then pausing and transcribing as a monologue comes up. I'm putting a hold on writing for now since that takes a ton of time and thought, which I just don't really have at the moment. If the inspiration strikes, I might sit down for a bit, but I'm going to hold off on that until I get into a position where I have a lot more time on my hands. Preferably once I'm at a point where I'm making enough money from my endeavors so I can quit my day job, but as much as I like the idea of writing and how much it interests me, it's just not something I should be spending my time on at the expense of working on my other more promising avenues. You may be thinking, where does this YouTube channel fit in? I put this under the downtime category because I treat this channel as a sort of virtual journaling exercise. I do present my stuff in a way of talking to people because I am, but it's also a good way for me to put my thoughts into words and express myself in a different way, which is something I really enjoy doing and find relaxing. That's why there's no specific upload schedule or consistency of topics. I just talk about whatever I want to talk about at any given time. And I just hope that people enjoy listening to me talk and can relate to me in some way, or maybe I can provide a different perspective, kind of like how I'm trying to do with this video. So, now that my rambling explanation is over, what I'm saying is that even though it may seem that narrowing down the things that you're doing may diminish your possibilities, and yeah, in some cases that may be true, but my point is that the more you can focus on one thing, the better you can develop it. It's a lot like that Bruce Lee quote that goes, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man that has practiced one kick 10,000 times." This also doesn't mean that you can't ever do anything with those other things that aren't on your priority list, or in my case, my list of 5. You can even do things in waves, focusing on something specific for a time, then switching to something else, but focusing heavily on that one thing for a time. There are many different ways to go about this, but I hope my rambling can help you discover a tactic that allows you to make progress and not feel like you're trapped and not getting anywhere.